is the Nightly Business Report.
Good evening. Tonight, over 200,000 tourists visited Sri Lanka in the first 27 days of March, a 13% increase over the same period last year, demonstrating the country's thriving tourism industry this year. Former Sri Lanka's Tea Board chairperson Niraj Demel claims that a drop in production is the main reason as to why Sri Lanka's tea exports are falling behind those of India. On the last trading day, the Colombo Stock Exchange suffered and decreased as S&P SL20 and all that shared a price index both fell after earlier increases. And President Trump's proposal to impose a 25% tariff on imported automobiles shook automakers' stock during a tumultuous Wall Street session. Ford fell 3.9%, while General Motors fell more than 7%.
From Studio 24, here's Will Qureshi.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Sri Lanka's tourism sector is seeing robust growth this year, with over 200,000 tourists visiting in the first 27 days of March, reflecting a 13% increase compared to the same period last year. The surge highlights the ongoing recovery and growing apparel of Sri Lanka as a top travel destination.
Sri Lanka's tourism sector continues to see strong growth, with over 200,000 tourists visiting in the first 27 days of March, bringing the year-to-date total to over 690,000 arrivals. The first 26 days of March saw a 14% year-on-year growth, with 198,982 tourists arriving. However, weekly arrivals have shown a slight decline, with the third week of March seeing just 51,459 visitors. Despite this, industry analysts predict over 235,000 arrivals for this month, pushing the total number to over 720,000. India remains the largest source market, followed by Russia and the UK. Experts are optimistic about achieving a target of 3 million visitors and over $5 billion in earnings for 2025. Continued marketing efforts, improved infrastructure and enhanced safety are expected to drive further growth in the sector.
Sri Lanka's government plans to enter the restaurant business with a new initiative aimed at providing affordable and nutritious meals to the public. The first malt restaurant will be opening on April 1st in Narayanpeta. As part of the nationwide effort to ensure food security, the initiative will be implemented in collaboration with the National Food Promotion Board and the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Agriculture. The government also aims to involve current restaurant owners to gain the support for the project. Following the launch, the government plans to introduce a program to improve the standards of existing restaurants. Additionally, the cabinet has decided to revive Sathosa, a state-owned enterprise known for its history of losses. Sri Lanka's tea exports are lagging behind India, driven by a decline in production, says former Sri Lanka Tea Board chairperson Niraj Demel. The drop in output of the expected impact in country's market share in the global tea industry.
Sri Lanka's tea exports are falling behind India, with production declining due to the government's fertilizer ban, according to former Sri Lankan Tea Board chairperson Niraj Demel. Demel pointed out that the government failed to address the long-term consequences of the ban, which has led to a significant drop in production. Last year, Sri Lanka's tea exports were low as 246 megakilogram compared to 254 megakilogram the previous year. In contrast, India has seen growth in its tea exports even after a slight decline in 2023, regaining momentum and growing by 25% in 2024. A report by the Times of India revealed that India surpassed Sri Lanka in tea exports in 2024, becoming the second largest tea exporter. The report credited India's success to government initiatives aimed at expanding production. Demel criticized the Sri Lankan government for not supporting the tea industry adequately, despite it being the country's fourth largest foreign exchange earner.
CBSL Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe emphasized the need for a more diversified stock market in Sri Lanka to allow the Employee Provident Fund to invest without overheating the market. Speaking at the Invest Sri Lanka Forum, the highlighted and limited investment options available for the EPF, which is mainly restricted to government securities. Dr. Veerasinghe pointed out that the current size of the stock market, if EPF invests on 1% of its funds, it could cause market overheating. He called for more companies, including state-owned enterprises, to be listed to provide better opportunities for EPF and other investors. As of September last year, the EPF had invested 88.6 billion rupees in equities with a market value of 109.6 billion rupees. For further, of course, explaining that both banks and the government have limited scope for stock market investment due to fiscal constraints and deposit liabilities. Island Climate Initiative launched GP Certified Sri Lanka, first certification for high-quality recycled plastics aimed to advance sustainable packaging.
Sri Lanka generates thousands of tons of plastic waste annually, with only 4% being recycled, leading to pollution in oceans and landfills. To address this, Island Climate Initiative launched their GP Certified, Sri Lanka's first certification for high-quality recycled plastics, aiming to promote better recycling practices. The certification provides clear guidelines for recyclers to ensure plastics are processed under safe and environmentally responsible conditions. FMCG companies can now confidently use recycled plastics in their packaging, reducing reliance on imported virgin plastics and supporting a circular economy. The GP certified label guarantees safety, quality and sustainability, ensuring packaging meets strict standards. The initiative also helps recyclers adopt best practices and improve working conditions, boosting demand for recycled plastics in the FMCG sector. Funded by the PLEASE project and supported by the World Bank, GP Certified is a major step towards a more sustainable future for Sri Lanka's plastic waste management.
Let's take a short commercial break. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. The Colombo Stock Exchange experienced a downturn on the final trading day as both the All-Share Price Index and S&P SL20 saw decline following previous gains. The drop, however, in stock prices reflected investor caution amid ongoing market volatility, signaling a shift in market sentiment. For further insights, we speak with Malintha Derana from LOLC Securities.
Thank you, Akhil. The All-Share Price Index dropped by 67 points today, closing at 15,815 points, while the S&P SL20 Index also saw a decrease of 25 points to finish the day at 4,735. Market turnover for the day was recorded at 1.66 billion rupees. Today was a relatively quiet day for the market, without any strong movements in either of the two price indexes, except for a sudden drop right as trading commenced at the start of the day. From there on, both indexes were able to maintain their respective levels with just some fluctuations throughout the day's trading. 100 of the 285 listed entities contributed negatively to the ASPI today, notably led by HNB, as today's ex-dividend date created some selling pressure among investors. Meanwhile, the top gainers for the day were led by Udupusalav Plantations PLC, Laughs Power PLC non-voting and Amana Takaful PLC, while the top losers for the day comprised of Nation Lanka Finance PLC, HNB PLC non-voting and East West Properties PLC. Thank you.
The market began the week on a weak note, with ASPI experiencing a decline and the S&P SL20 continuing its downward trend in the first 2 days. However, after mixed performance, the market regained strength and momentum, ultimately closing on a negative note. For further insights, we speak with Imashi Seliperuma from LOLC Securities.
Thank you, Akhil. The market witnessed a shortfall this week. The SPI decreased by 0.41%, while S&P decreased by 0.67%. Significant foreign buying activity was seen in Richard Perry's company, Dialog, Ceylon Cold Stores Counters, while notable foreign sell-offs were recorded in John Keells Holdings, Sampath Bank, Sunshine Holdings during the week. A positive price trend was observed in counters like Industrial Asphalts, City Holdings, York Arcade Holdings during the week, while Nation Lanka Finance, City Land Development and SME Finance mainly experienced a decline. City Holdings, Richard Peary's Commercial Bank, Selinco Holdings non-voting counters positively contributed for this week's change in SPI, while Selinco Holdings voting, HMB voting and non-voting shares, and John Keel's Holdings and DFCC negatively contributed. This week's total turnover reached 10 billion rupees with an weekly average turnover of 2 billion. Top crossings for the week included Sampath Bank, Lanka Epsilon, HMB, John Keel's Holdings and Commercial Bank. In the second monetary policy review for the year, Central Bank decided to maintain the overnight policy rate at current 8% level. The Monetary Board expects inflation to turn positive by mid-year and gradually align with their 5% target by the year end. Looking at some key corporate announcements, Associated Motor Finance Company announced their plans to issue 7.5 million high-yield bonds with an option to issue additional 5 million in the event of an oversubscription, and they aim to raise 1.25 billion rupees. SoftLogic Life Insurance has agreed to acquire all stake of Alliance Life Insurance Lanka Limited.
Gold prices surged to a record high in Asian trade today, driven by a heightened safe haven demand following US President Donald Trump's imposition of a steep tariffs on the automobile sector. Spot gold rose 0.6% to $3,073.79 an ounce after earlier reaching a peak of $3,077.67 per ounce, and gold futuring, of course, and jumping to 0.7% to $3,112.72 per ounce, hitting a high of $3,117.50 per ounce. Investors were also cautious ahead of the potential high PCE price index reading, which is Federal Reserve's, and of course this is the preferred inflation measure. The surge in gold prices has been fueled by concerns over Trump's tariffs, fears of the US recession, and geopolitical tension between Russia and Ukraine. Additionally, the breakdown in Israel-Hamas ceasefire further fueled demand for safe haven assets like gold. Oil prices remain steady in Asia trading today as investors prepare for US reciprocal tariff as set to begin next week. Despite the uncertainty, prices stayed near a one-month high, with Brent and Brent oil futures for April holding steady at $74 per barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures were also stable at $69.45 per barrel, maintaining a three-week high reached earlier in the week. Both contracts are poised for a more than 2% rise this week, marking a third consecutive weekly gain. This surge is largely driven by US threats of tariffs on the countries purchasing Venezuela oil and gas, alongside the decline in the US crude inventories. The Sri Lankan rupee has strengthened further against the US dollar today, continuing its upward trend from yesterday. According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, both the buying and selling rates of the US dollar has decreased. The rupee has also shown slight fluctuations against a range of other foreign currencies, while appreciating against Gulf currencies. Let's take a closer look at how the rupee is in performance against major global currencies in today's market. Let's take a short commercial break. We'll be back with the nightly business report. Welcome back. The government is exploring various options, including privatization and public-private partnerships, to restructure the debt-ridden Sri Lankan Airlines. The move aims to address the airline's financial struggles and ensure its long-term sustainability.
Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning Dr. Harshana Surya Perumal revealed that an expert committee is carefully studying the best strategy to restructure Sri Lankan Airlines. He stated that the government is considering a wide range of options, including asset funds, privatization, management changes, and even amalgamation. Dr. Surya Perumal emphasized that the government does not have a predetermined stance on any particular option and is committed to exploring all alternatives. He also mentioned that while a specific timeline for the restructuring process is difficult to set, the committee has been given a deadline for recommendations. In October of 2024, the government initially shifted away from privatization plans, focusing instead on internal restructuring. However, recent pressure from the International Monetary Fund has raised concerns about the previous decision. The government is now carefully weighing its options to ensure the airline's financial stability.
Commercial Bank of the Ceylon has been named the most awarded corporate entity in Sri Lanka for 2024 by LMD, marking the second consecutive year and has received the honour. The bank topped the list of Sri Lanka's corporate giants, earning a total of 15 awards based on LMD's research and verification. LMD's study highlighted a 496 award-winning corporate entity. This is the double amount of the number from the previous edition. Collectively securing 2,831 awards, Commercial Bank's recognition reflects its consistent performance, sustainability and compliance in various sectors. Managing Director CEO Sanath Munathunga corrected and credited the bank's success to its dedicated team and its commitment to serving diverse stakeholders. The banks view these awards as a testament to its excellence and a powerful endorsement of its integrity and impact. SoftLogic Life has announced its acquisition of 100% shares of Alliance's Life Insurance Lanka Limited. This is, of course, marking a new growth phase pending approval from the Insurance Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka.
SoftLogic Life has announced its acquisition of Allianz Life Insurance Lanka, aiming to expand its market share and enhance product offerings. The move will strengthen SoftLogic Life's distribution capabilities and build on its existing customer base of over 750,000 active policies. The acquisition aligns with SoftLogic Life's vision to provide world-class life insurance products to a wider customer base across Sri Lanka. SoftLogic Life's focus on digital transformation and customer-centric solutions is expected to drive further innovation in the insurance industry. The insurer's commitment to efficient claim settlements has strengthened customers' trust and service excellence. SoftLogic Life reported a significant growth in gross written premiums, reaching 31.6 billion rupees for the year ending December 2024. With over 1.3 million lives protected, SoftLogic Life continues to lead the InsurTech revolution, enhancing accessibility and efficiency in the sector.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka recently launched a digital payment promotion campaign at Gregory's Lake Car Park, Nora Elia, under the theme Shaping the Future through Digital Transactions. Led by CBSL Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, the initiative aimed to boost the adoption of digital banking and payments nationwide. People's Bank participated actively in this event, showcasing its digital transformation efforts and praising and raising awareness about its People's Pay app. The bank set up a stall to educate the public on the benefits and the security of mobile payments, offering live demonstrations and registrations for digital payment services. Special discounts were provided through Lanka QR, and personalized guidance was given to ensure smooth transition for the digital transactions. The CBSL campaign encourages the public to embrace mobile payment apps as safer and more convenient alternatives to cash. Haley Solar, the renewable energy division of Haley's Fentons, has cemented its position as the industry leader by winning 2 prestigious awards at the National Industry Brand Excellence Awards 2024.
Haley's Solar, the renewable energy arm of Haley's Fentons, has strengthened its leadership position in the industry by winning 2 prestigious awards at the National Industry Brand Excellence Awards 2024. Organized by the Industrial Development Board of Ceylon under the guidance of the Industries Ministry, Haley's Solar was recognized as the best national industry brand in the large-scale electrical and electronics and allied industry sector. The company also received the Best New Entrant Brand Western Province award, further solidifying its market leadership. Haley's Fendants Limited Managing Director Hasit Prematilaka emphasized that these achievements reflect the company's commitment to providing sustainable and innovative engineering services. Haley Solar Director and CEO Roshan Pereira expressed pride in this recognition, highlighting the company's dedication to innovation and market leadership. He added that Haley Solar remains focused on delivering scalable, sustainable energy solutions that contribute to both environmental and economic growth. These awards reinforce Haley Solar's missions to empower businesses and foster a cleaner, more resilient future.
Hemas Manufacturing Private Limited has achieved the Authorized Economic Operator Tier 1 certification from Sri Lanka's Custom, marking a significant milestone in operational excellence, the global trade compliance. This accomplishment places Hemas amongst exclusive groups of only 48 companies in Sri Lanka to receive this globally recognized certification. The AEO Tier program, initiated by the World Customs Organization, certified companies that meets the highest standards in security, compliance and efficiency in international trade. HEMA certification allows for expenditures and customs clearance, reducing the operational risks and improving trade facilitations, streamlining the import and export processes. Managing Director Sabrina Asafoli emphasized that this certification reflects HEMA's commitment to compliance, operational integrity and global trade excellence. With a new advantage, HEMA is better positioned to provide reliable service and enhanced value to partners worldwide. Let's take a short commercial break. Global business updates coming on the other side. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Most Asian stocks fell today, continuing recent losses as investors remained concerned over the US President Donald Trump's tariff agenda. Japan's market were the hardest hit, with the Nikkei 225 and Topix indexes dropping more than 2% each due to hotter than expected inflation data from Tokyo. The inflation data raised concerns about an early rate hike by the Bank of Japan as the Tokyo Consumer Price Index remained above the borders or BOJ's 2% target. South Korea's Kospi slid 1.7%, with significant losses in tech and chip stocks like Hyundai Motor, and of course this is the SK Hynix. In contrast, Australia's ASX 200 rose 0.2% ahead of the next week's Reserve Bank of Australia meeting, where rates are expected to remain unchanged. Singapore's Straits Times Index rose 0.1%, while India's Nifty 50 Index futures pointed to a flat open. In a volatile session on Wall Street, President Trump's plan to implement a 25% tariff on imported cars rocked shares of automakers. General Motors tumbled over 7% and Ford slid 3.9%.
U.S. stocks ended lower on Thursday, with the Dow and S&P 500 both dropping about 0.33% and the Nasdaq shedding more than 0.5%. President Donald Trump's mercurial tariff policies have created uncertainty on Wall Street and continue to fuel fears of a global slowdown. Trump's plan to implement a 25% tariff on imported cars rocked shares of automakers. General Motors tumbled more than 7%, and Ford slid almost 4%. Shares of car parts manufacturers Aptiv and Borg-Warner also suffered substantial losses. But shares of Tesla were spared, edging up modestly, as investors bet the electric vehicle maker will be hurt less by tariffs because of its largely domestic production. Other movers included Lululemon Athletica, which closed higher but plummeted more than 10% in extended trading after the apparel company forecast annual revenue and profit below estimates as a refresh of its product line has failed to attract more customers. And shares of Dollar Tree jumped 11% as several analysts raised their price targets a day after the discount retailer said it sold its struggling Family Dollar business for about $1 billion. Investors on Friday will focus on the February February Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, the Federal Reserve's favored inflation gauge.
British clothing retailers next reported a 10.1% rise in annual profit, making an excess of £1 billion for the first time, and raised its guidance for sale and profit growth in its new financial year.
Next reported a 10.1% rise in annual profit on Thursday. The British clothing retailer confirmed it made more than £1 billion for the first time. It said it made a pre-tax profit of $1.31 billion in its year to January 25th. It joins its supermarket Tesco and clothing and food group Marks & Spencer in reaching the landmark figure. Total group sales rose 8.2% to more than $8.1 billion. The company also raised its guidance for sales and profit growth in its new financial year. However, the company expects UK tax rises in April to weaken the jobs market. It also sees that weighing on consumer confidence as the year progresses. Next is often considered a measure of how British consumers are spending. Surveys published earlier this month showed British consumer spending lost momentum last month after a bounce at the start of the year. That's despite households' rising confidence in their personal finances and the wider economy.
That's all from us right here on Nightly Business Report for today. We'll see you again on Monday with the latest updates in the business global. Until then, I'm Akhil Qureshi. Thank you for watching. Good night.